Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the True Sweet High podcast. Today's guest is Alex Dumas. He is the creator, him and his wife Sarah are the creator hosts of Abundance Daily. So thanks, Alex, for finally being on here today. I'm so excited.
For inviting me onto the show and glitches we're having right now. It's all good.
Well, go ahead and share. So how did you start Abundance Daily with Sarah?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's been a process of years and years of us building several businesses. She really was the kind of the spearhead of that with just different direct sales opportunities and eventually me getting into some network marketing and financial services. And I worked in the financial services realm for a few years and she was doing her thing, but it was always kind of separate. It was always, this is my thing, this is your thing. We'll kind of support each other from the sidelines. And then as we started to grow in our personal development journey, going to more seminars, working with coaches, hiring on coaches and investing in ourselves, it's just started to become more and more clear. Like, it's going to be a lot easier if we kind of do this together and we're aligned with the same mission of, helping married couples, create better connections and have just better marriages and create more intimacy because we would always get questions like, "Oh, you guys are so great," blah blah blah, and it was kind of like, well, it's natural to us. It wasn't anything that we really thought about. It took plan and it took obviously effort, but as we made that shift in business and just looking at our own relationship, it just made sense. Like, how can we help other people have better relationships? And lo and behold, Abundance Daily was the the spark. There's a lot more of the story. There's kind of the quick note version of it, but this is that's the basis of it.
No, that's really great. There's not a lot out there on how to build better relationships, especially at home. We're
Yeah,
so we're so used to just talking about everything else but family, and so it's hard, especially when you're trying to build something separately, and then you want to build it together. So what I mean, what it, you said there was more to the story. What advice would you give to people that are doing their own thing but want to do it together? I'm sure there was a lot of patience, a lot of trial and error, maybe
yeah,
with
for sure.
the
I'm not. I can speak for myself. I'm not always the easiest person to deal with. But it's it was just one of those things of just us in our relationships. Our upbringing is really the spark of that. Of my parents were together for a number of years. My wife's a child of divorce, but seeing their relationships, we both saw what we wanted. We both had a vision of what we're going to be together. We're going to have fun together. We're going to be best friends, and that's what we are. And I think just at the foundational level, there just has to be that respect for each other, to that that space for honesty with each other, because without that, then everything falls apart. So with that, like, I respect her as a businessman, I respect her as a coach, I respect my wife as an equal. It's not a um I'm the dominant man in the household, and she's the passive wife, or vice versa, she wears the pants, that kind of dynamic. It's more of, these are my strengths, these are her strengths, let's see how we can make these work together, and continue to work on a vision. I think that's where most couples struggle, is they're just drifting along through the day, and whether it's in their careers or as parents or whatever, it's just the everyday routine. And that can be troublesome because you feel unfulfilled, you feel unsatisfied, and then you may go looking for that excitement and satisfaction somewhere else. And that's where people get in trouble with
Mm.
cheating or other things, pornography, whatever it might be, drugs. So you got to find that within your spouse and also within yourself, of how to be satisfied, how to be fulfilled, and then look for that way to give it, protect it to someone else.
Right. I think communication was my biggest thing because when I would get in my, when I would have a stressful day with whatever, I just didn't want to talk about it. And I think that can be a problem sometimes. So I
Yeah,
think um, it sounds like you have to learn to do that nowadays, is you have to learn to communicate and find your strengths and your weaknesses and learn how to, I don't want to say learn how to live with it, but appreciate it and say,
yeah,
okay, this is her thing, this is mine, and this is how we're going to deal with it. We just need to learn. So what advice do you give to people with that? Because there are days where you come home and you don't want to talk. Do you just say, hey, you know what, I had a bad day, give me a few minutes? Or, I think it's hard for some people. They just want to not talk and they just go to their room.
yeah. No, no, for sure. That makes sense. And sometimes, like you said, it might be something like, hey, I just need a few minutes. I just need to maybe it's an exercise. Maybe it's just something I need to just breathe. I need to listen to some music or whatever. And I
Hmm.
think just doing that, just letting your spouse know, you just don't stomp in the house and you know and have this weird energy around you and not say anything, and then they're wondering like, "Oh, you're mad at me," and that's probably the one of the biggest things where we internalize it so much. When you're around somebody you love so long that it's immediately like, "Oh man, what's wrong with me? What did I do? What did I mess up? What did I say? What did I not do?" And it may have nothing to do with you. Odds are it you're probably not even involved with whatever's bothering them, but it's just them being and being conscious enough and aware enough to say, "Hey, I'm upset right now. I really don't want to talk about it. You know, can I have some time?" And 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 one of the things we like to teach couples is just helping them work together as a team. And ironically enough, we are on the truths we hide. And the first step of that is looking at the truth and kind of figuring out what's the real issue. What's the real challenge going on. And how do you show up in the relationship, and um, just giving each other space to, your individuals first. No matter what, you are human first. You got to give yourself your time. You got to take care of you first in order to be the partner you need to be in the relationship. So if you need to blow some steam, scream a little bit, hit a punching bag, go for a run, play a video game for a few minutes, just do something that's gonna get you back into the right state of mind.
Right. I think that's important still, is to be able to go off and still have your own hobby, or still
Yeah,
have your own ways of to release and to decompress and all that. We often find it that we feel like we have to always be present, but sometimes you can't unless you go off and do go for a run or listen to music like you say. And that's it's hard sometimes because you just live each day like it's just another day, but you have to
yeah,
find that peace, that place in life where you can continue to keep motivated and to be present for your partner, for your family, for your kids.
yeah,
what
100%.
what I see that you, okay, so you have the business and marriage podcast,
Yeah,
and you you send out, well, you guys need to sign up for his for their newsletter, their emails, because they always send out something that's so informative. You read it and you go, oh my gosh, yes, that's it. And for example, one of them you had how to support your spouse. So what how for a lot of people out there, it's hard for them because you're so focused on your own career. How do you
mhm.
take that moment to be present to support your spouse and what they want to do as well?
Yeah. Oh, great question. I think that's just having enough awareness to kind of see what's going on and not, like I said, be on autopilot. If it's one partner in the relationship, you know, who's more entrepreneurial minded, or maybe their career is demanding. You're seeing that there might be long days, long nights. Kind of just picking up the slack around the house. Hey, I can handle some of the food shopping. I can handle some of the laundry. It could be something as simple as that. I can, let me handle the kids for a couple nights in a row. I know you got a big project to do, and and just give them that room to do it and not lay out on the guilt trip. I think that was something that we've learned. It's often that the stuff we teach is the stuff that we need to learn the most, and or that we have learned the most. And just going back to my days in financial services, there'd be days, when we living in New York, on Long Island, going out to Wall Street and meeting with clients and having appointments and train rides and getting home late. And my wife is home with the kids. And, it's just one of those things of like, it's that frustration on both ends where the partner that's hustling hard and grinding, quote unquote, I hate those words, but that's that part of it.
Mhm.
Um, where they're like, I'm going out here, I'm doing everything I can, and you're not appreciating that, and the spouse who's at home is like, well, I'm here with them, and I'm doing this, and you're not helping. So there has to be a way for each other to, for both sides to kind of slow down, support each other, and figure out different ways of how to navigate and how to build towards something and not tear each other down.
Mhm. No, that's so important. I'm sitting here, I was listening to you and I'm thinking how how it gets stressful in this household and how I mean when I retired I decided to do something else so I'm at home but my husband still goes to work every single day and I know there's times where I'm like, you know what, I'm tired of going to the grocery store. I have to go,
Mm,
especially now during this time I have to go like every 4 days.
right,
And um and so I get frustrated. It's not fair because he works different shifts, so I can't expect for him to do that. So I'm trying to find um, just grace and appreciate the fact that I can still go to the store and find a happy medium because I know he has to work, but dealing with the juggling the kids. I have just one teenager at home now, but how do you Monday through Friday is work, 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 and then Saturday and Sunday, do you just let go of the social media and you just try to be present there for the kids? Because I know it's so hard. It's like you just have to, Saturday and Sunday, you don't want to do anything.
right.
You just want to focus on something else. I know here, I try not to go on my phone Saturday and Sunday and just try to be here and do whatever besides working. So, how do you find that? How do you do that at home with the kids? Do you just, yeah, I'm just curious to see because it's everyone's busy now, especially now. They're so, well, I take that back. They're either not busy or they are more busy. So it just
Yeah,
depends.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a weird time right now for us all. One of the things that we always try to do is to be up front with the kids and be like, hey, listen, we need this time to do business stuff. This is mommy daddy time. We need to either work on whatever we're creating and kind of do that. But one of the things we talk about is putting each other first. Get yourselves on the calendar first. So if it's a daddy daughter date, if it's family movie night, a game night, something like that, get them on the calendar first because you let them know that they're the priority. And these set dates, these appointments, you got to keep them like that. Like, hey, I don't break this appointment. I
Yeah,
This is my word. I'm not. This is not negotiable. Like, if it's a date night for me and the missus, like that's it. If it's
right.
daddy daughter, play day time, whatever, that's what it is, and it's not. That's not moving. Everything else is going to be designed around my life. I'm not going to design a business that is going to suck me in for 80 hours and I don't get to see anybody. That's no fun,
Hmm.
and just, the weekend side. I mean, one of the things you just mentioned was really great is just putting away the phone and, you know, even putting yourself like on a time block, like, hey, from 1 to 3, my phone's going to get, locked in the other room or I'll put it in my bedroom and I'm not even going to look at it. and it's tough. It's
It is.
sometimes I still fall into the trap of, oh, I gotta check this, I gotta check this, and like it doesn't. The likes on social media, those things aren't as important as you think they are.
Right. You're so right. They aren't. And I think it is important, especially now, to try to appreciate daddy and daughter dates or just, mark on the calendar game night or whatever. I think we've lost that over the years. We've been so busy, especially for, I mean, I remember having to go to work from 5 a.m. until whenever. But for those in the corporate world, what advice do you give them? Because that is their life. They're constantly in the office from Monday through Friday, all day, every day, and Saturday and Sunday. How do you tell them to take time for themselves? For us in the military, I think it was a little bit different.
Hmm.
Um, but for those in the corporate world, how do what do you tell them? I tried to tell people you have to find at least 5 minutes, 10 minutes, either in the morning or at night to meditate or to journal or to maybe you just want to watch TV, just something, because I know your life is so busy, but if you don't do that for yourself, you're going to go crazy. You're going to lose it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, these are great tools. Journaling, we're big fans of. We believe in the power of the pen, for sure. And I think with those corporate individuals, people who are just going, going, going. You may not get the quantity of the time, but now you have to really make it quality. If you have an hour of maybe you're the one dropping off the kids at a daycare or dropping them at school and waiting with them, then you know put the phone down, talk to them, just or put some music on, do something where you're creating those different memories where it's not just, oh, well, mommy or daddy, they just drop me off and I never get to see them. And my day is basically I'm at school and then I'm at home and I don't see the other parent, and that creates a terrible dynamic. I think if you can create those small little memories, and if depending on the age of your kid, if you're able to even send them like a quick text message or write them a little note in their lunchbox, just something I've done with my daughter for a few years now. Just what, you're a champion. You can do it. You're the best. You're something uplifting them so they open their bag. Oh, daddy thought of me. For my son. Like I was wrestling with him and just find a couple minutes to play around and roughhouse whatever. But whatever's gonna work for you. But you can't blame yourself for getting to the head trip of, oh, I don't get to see them. Like, dude, there's opportunity there, and it's all about what you're looking for. If you're looking for that opportunity, you're gonna find it. So make the most of it.
And I like that, especially with the little notes. I used to do that with my kids when they were younger.
Yeah.
It's just a little reminder, just to for them to know that you're at least taking the time to think about them, especially because I know with us every morning was rush, rush, rush. But, and I tried to talk to them in the car on the way to school, or I try to talk to them about their day on the way home from school. And I
Right.
always, I know when they get in their teenage years, they don't really want to talk, but I always found a way to connect somehow. And it's, I think it's just important because I know when I was growing up, my mom, she raised us by herself for a while, and she was trying to finish up her bachelor's degree, and she was trying to work, and it was so hard. So, but she tried, and I'll always remember that. So I think, now with my own kids, I want them to see that it's okay to be your own boss or work for someone else, whatever the case is, as long as you try to find time to for yourself and to do what you like to do. Always make time for yourself.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
I want them to do that. So with your kids, I know that you say you communicate with them and say, this is mom and dad time and or this is work time or whatever the case is. But what other things do you do with your own kids to, especially now, I think this generation it's so difficult because it's all it is all electronics and social media, and it's so hard to
Right.
pull them away. But what kinds of things do you do with your kids besides the you mentioned game night and daddy daughter time, but is there other things that you try to teach them in this generation, this time?
Yeah, I mean, you know, some of the other things is just, it might be just simply like kind of taking a walk, maybe just jumping on the trampoline. And if they are kind of like getting sucked up into like the tech world or, just watching Netflix and stuff like that, I got to beat them where they're at, and just, I'll lay on the couch with them and, just kind of have them talk to me about, hey, what's this show about? Or, what's this character going through? And, just kind of peek into their head, like, how are they interpreting it? And then starting to kind of create the dialogue there, and not come from a place of, oh, this show was stupid. Like, I used to watch Thundercats. This whatever you're watching right now is dumb. It's, I don't want to like, you know, make fun of their, this is what they're interested in. So I got to see what they're interested in. And plus it's going to help me understand, as they get older and stay connected because
Hmm.
there's so many different things. And I was like, oh, what do these emojis mean? Like, I gotta stay on top of it. I gotta know what the floss dance looks like. I gotta know what all these things,
Yes.
Fortnite look like because it. Who knows? Not to become the paranoid parent, like you never know what's happening online, but you gotta stay in the know somewhat of
Yes.
what's going on. So, that's one of the things I do. I just try to be around, even if I'm annoying them or I'll make fun of some of the stuff and like do the weird dances. They're like, yeah, like that's corny, but they know that I'm engaged with them at least.
Yes, I love that. I do that with my son because he's going to remember it later on that mom actually took the time. But I know with him, I don't know half the stuff he's talking about when it comes to computers and software and stuff like that. But when one time he wanted to go to a computer store and it was overwhelming for me, but he knew everything about it. So I took that hour and we walked around the store and I let him point all this stuff out to me and explain it to me, even though I was totally confused. But I wanted to take the time to show interest in what his interests were.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's important because we get so busy with our own lives that we don't really know what our kids are doing or what they're into. So if you just take a minute, even if it's confusing as hell, just take that minute and talk to him about it. Let him or let them talk to you about their skateboard or computers.
Yeah,
And, because you want them to know that you're interested, that you want to be a part of their life. And it's so hard. And I mean, like I said, I don't know half the stuff we talked about. Yesterday, we went to the skateboard shop. I have no idea what this bearings and wheels and all that stuff is, but I wanted to be there for him and actually be a part of it, and that way he knows that I do care. I can't skateboard, but that's cool that he does.
yeah,
So, yeah, we need to try and be more present with the kids, even if we don't know what those emojis mean. Learn about it, ask them about it, be in the
yeah,
know because you don't know what you don't know what everybody's doing on their phone, so you kind of have to get in their business.
yeah. And,
So,
it's a great tool to, just being around them and uh, finding out the different programs they're into and different activities. And, for parents out there, I think it's a great opportunity to keep connecting those things that they're interested in with their gifts and what you know about them already. Because
yes.
as a parent, we know what they can do. Like my son's super, he's 4, about to be 5 this week, and he's super like energetic, super competitive. My daughter's, very sensitive, very uh, artistic. So we got to always keep connecting those goals. Like, oh, she watches stuff on YouTube. I'm like, these girls are funny, but I think you can do something like that. I think you plant those little seeds in their heads. Like, she's a great singer. I bet if you practice a little bit more, you could do stuff like that. And it's not, demeaning them, but it's really letting them know, like, hey, I believe in you. this is stuff that you could do too. Why watch somebody else have fun when you could be the one having fun? So I just try to like point plant those little seeds in their head so that they know that I see them, I know what they can do, I know what they're capable of, and at the same time challenge them to do more, but not in a way of that old man grumpy style, like, oh, you better do this, and whack a finger in their face. Like, no, like you can do that. Like, did you know that? Like, this is possible. This wasn't possible when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You got the ability to do that now. So you
No,
have all these opportunities.
that's awesome. I love that you do that. No, it's great. It does. It shows them that you believe in them, that they could do it too, and you're excited about it, so it gets them excited about it. I used to do that
Yeah.
with my daughter. She used to like to sing when she was younger, and her dream was to go on American Idol. And so I said, you could do that. You just practice just a little bit more and you could get on there. But it wasn't in a way that it was demeaning. Like you said, it was like, hey, you can sing too. You have a good
Right.
voice, but you just, sometimes people need to practice. They need to take lessons. They need to do that. Because you don't want to pump them up and say, yeah, you could totally be on there when you know that they might need a little bit more practice, but you know that they
Right.
could do it.
Right.
Because
Right.
not everybody could just get on stage and sing beautifully. Some of them, it took hard work and years and practice and whatever, but you saw that their talent and you tried to motivate them a little bit more to get out there. And just yeah, just little things like that I think is so great to be involved that way with your kids. I think that's yeah, I love that. That's really awesome. So tell us more about, so you do the podcast every week and you've been doing
Yeah.
it for how long again?
It's oh goodness, it's gonna be almost 2 years and a couple months. Yeah, 2018. We got this started. Originally, we started as Abundance Daily, then we just morphed it into like the business and marriage podcast, since it started to make more sense of us, like who exactly we were talking to and who we wanted to serve. And it was every week, for the most part, there's been a couple of weeks that things just didn't happen. We didn't record an episode, but for the most part, we've been pretty consistent with every week delivering something, and you know, trying our best to make a dent in this world.
No, I love that. I think there are so different, each podcast talks to a different audience. And I think that, business and marriage podcast, I think it's great. It's a great fit for this time, trying to help other people with that. So what kind of business advice do you give to those who want to start one?
Yeah, I'd say one, just really get aligned with what you want to do. Most people will say, like, find your niche, and yes, that's important, but the niche isn't something to get to. It's something that comes from within that you create, and you're only going to be able to create that with experience and with um, just getting dirty and serving people and seeing what that looks like, and testing it out, and taking action. No one, when we started when we started doing like the Abundance Daily videos, it was really geared to like financial professionals and helping people out saving money, and that was great. That was cool, but it wasn't something that I was like super passionate about. I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna get out of bed and do this. I wasn't really that hyped up about it. And now this is something that's more aligned with my heart, aligned with our mindsets of realizing like how important is marriage and how important is business. And there's you know millions of small businesses out there, and mom and pop shops, and husband and wife teams running these things. So what does that look like for them? With the business advice, just get aligned with what you want to do first. um, Obviously figure out the roles and responsibilities of each partner in the organization. So if this is a two-person team, hey, if you have more of the marketing savvy, more of the graphic design savvy, if you're a person who's um, comfortable on camera and doing lives and doing trainings, doing podcast interviews, whatever it might be, there has to be that delegation to each other and that commitment of, this is what I'm going to take care of. I agree to this, and not really have expectations, because once you have expectations, you make assumptions, and no one can ever live up to an expectation. But you have a different agreement. Now it's like, all right, this is what I said I was going to do. This is what I said I was going to produce, and you follow up on your word and you do it. So that's a few of our keys, I would say.
Well, those are really good. I'm glad that you found something that you're excited about because it's hard. We all go through those trials and
Yeah,
errors. We all start something, we're like, no, I'm not really loving it, so let me do something else. And it's okay for everyone that's listening. It is okay to to do that. You'll find it. But like you said, the niche comes from within, and so that's so important because you can't go out there and save everybody. You can save some people, and it was hard for me to realize that. I wanted to do everything and for everybody, but then I was told, okay, you can't. You have to find your niche. What do you like to
yeah,
do? And I'm like, okay.
you gotta find, yeah, exactly. You gotta find your people. Your people are going to be your fans. They're going to be your evangelists. They are going to be the ones that will stomp over, fire for you. And just to kind of put in perspective, right now at the time we're in, everybody's going crazy about this Tiger King show and whatever. I watched it too. It was funny as heck. It was crazy and wild. But imagine if people were talking about your business like that. People were online like, oh my goodness, this person served me so powerfully. This person's products, this service was so amazing. They can't stop talking about it. Imagine that kind of frenzy. Now, you're not going to have that with everybody in the world, but
Mm,
those small outliers, you connect to them. Your message is for them and
right.
for them alone. And if they want to spread it, they will. But you
Hmm.
have to create that base of people that are loyal and
Yeah.
serve them, that they'll never forget.
Yeah, you're so right. That's so true. I like that. So are you, it's just, it's you and Sarah every week, or do you bring on guests, or how does it work?
Yeah, it's typically been me and Sarah. Every week we did have guests on for a while, and we're kind of making that shift with that. With someone wants to come on to the show, we want to do it in a different format. Interview style is great. There's nothing against that, but our gift in the world is coaching. Our gift in the world is helping someone transform. So if I can help someone who wants to connect with us walk away better from when they walked in, then we want to do that. And we invite guests to come on the show. It's like, hey, we're gonna coach you live on the show. And we might dive deep. We'll go as deep as you want to go, but we want to give you an experience of what we do. And if someone's willing to be vulnerable and open up, that's perfectly fine. If they're not, that's perfectly fine too. But that's that's the direction that we've been heading in. And I've had a couple of episodes of just doing what we call these clarity sessions with folks. People get to listen in live and direct and hear what that sounds like, and kind of put yourself in that person's shoes and see, like, all right, these questions I'm asking and this things we're trying to pull out or help you discover, what does that look like for you? So
Oh, that sounds awesome. I
yeah,
like that. So where could people find you to get more information just about your show or to get on your email list?
yeah. Uh, abundancedaily.com. That's the website. More, as far as the podcast, we're on iTunes, iHeartRadio. Sorry. I think we're on Anchor too, and Podbean and Spotify. So you'll just look up the Business and Marriage Podcast. That's where we are. And we have our private community, which is the on Facebook, which is the Business and Marriage Project. So we did the podcast and the project because marriage is a work in progress and it's a project. We're going to build ourselves up. So that's why we named it that. And yeah, we have different things. If you want to take advantage, someone wants to take advantage of one of these clarity sessions with us, it's free. We look to connect with people. I can send you that info and put that in the show notes if you want. So yeah,
Yes, perfect. Well, this is awesome. I'm so excited for you and all the things that you're doing and all the people that you're helping. So
Thank you. Appreciate it.
thank you so much for being on here. I was really excited to have you on. So yay. I will I will put all this stuff in the show notes so you guys can go find him, but I encourage you to get on the email list, to go to their podcast. You are going to learn so much about yourself and about other people. So thank you so much, Alex. I do appreciate it, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Annette. Take
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you for listening to the Truths We Hide podcast, created by A Wild Ride Called Life. To find out more about our mission, visit www.awildridecalledlife.com.